Step into the spotlight.
Okay, great-grandfather's corncob pipe. What did I just read here? So I just got done reading Silver Sable and the Wild Pack, and I immediately had to start recording to make a video on this. This makes my head hurt. It really does. And as I go to the writer's page here, Krista Faust is writing, because you have to have a woman writing Silver Sable, because Silver Sable's a woman. You have to have a woman writer. I mean, obviously, the story for this is months ago, Silver Sable, one of the most skilled mercenaries in the world, faked her own death to stop a supervillain's plan to take over the world. In the ensuing months, her homeland, the Eastern European nation called Simcaria, fell into the hands of madmen and false patriots, and Sable had no choice but to come out of hiding to liberate her people. With Sable's help, the country is recovering, but nation building doesn't pay the bills, and Silver has started taking contracts again. Okay, so there's your synopsis. Okay, so the cover artist, the cover artist and the inside artists are most of the time not the same. They have this awful legacy banner on the side of this here. Silver Sable is drawn. She's drawn, feminine. And she's at least got boobs. I mean, her face is pretty, so I'll give them that. And then the inside artist draws her even more, feminine. But as we get to the first page, I mean, oh my gosh, guys, this book is everything that's wrong with Marvel right now in one book. This made my head hurt. It actually made me mad reading this book because it's so condescending to the audience. So they went above and beyond in this book because, with all that's going on in America right now, you want to write books that, they're trying to be very political. So they want to write books that talk about the political landscape and what's going on right now. So they actually they flipped the script and made the villains neo-Nazis, guys, because we're not really talking about that enough. We have to start talking about neo-Nazis, because every time I get in my car and I drive to the local Shell station, I can't even get a soda pop because of all the neo-Nazis that are harassing me and constantly berating me. Not really. No, that's not a problem at all, actually. So that doesn't really acknowledge anything that's happening in the world right now. We are so sick and tired of neo-Nazis in Marvel Comics. That's not a real thing. Oh my gosh. I'm sure there are neo-Nazis. They're like 1% of the population. Okay? But by Marvel standards, they're on every street corner. They're everywhere, guys. They're all around us. But anyway, let's get to this book. So the first page, we get this he, she, we don't really know what it is, mercenary sitting on this boat. She's randomly standing on this raft. The raft looks like the motor is going. Now the motor is going. You can see the water moving, but she's standing straight up in the boat. She is dressed like one of the misfits. She has SS on her actual flotation device. She has SSS on there. She's got tattoos all over. She's got the weird Dark Knight Returns mutant glasses with the hair style. And of course, she's using an AK-47. Nothing says, white neo-Nazi like AK-47s. And then she says, I don't really understand. She says whisper, 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 whisper on the motor for some reason. And then somebody grabs her and oh God, she's in the water. So then we cut to the next page here and we get a bunch of testosterone taking, half head shaved neo-Nazi women, because that's a real thing. And they, oh my gosh, the first bubble, guys. A boat full of refugees seeking asylum in Simkaria have been taken hostage by neo-Nazi terrorist Olka Bojakova of the Simkarian supremacist sisterhood, because that's a real thing. Oh, and she's actually got a tattoo of the sisterhood on the side of her head. And then she says, bring me one of those Mongol refugees. So she goes back there, and all the refugees are Middle Eastern because they're from Simkaria, where Sable is from. But none of them look like Sable. They all look like Syrian refugees, because it's a year later and we're still talking about that. And then, already one of the group members is doubting the motivations of the leader, even though we've just now established who this group is. We already have desertion in the group. And she says, is this really necessary? I mean, maybe if we give them a little more time. She says, what, are you going soft on me now? And the little refugees guy's like, oh, I have a family and a PhD, and, I have all these things. Please don't hurt me. I'm just trying to create a cure for cancer. So she goes up in front of the camera. They all look like Al-Qaeda, but, they're neo-Nazis. And they say, we will kill one subhuman hostage every hour until true Simkaria patriot Demyan Buria is released from Simkarian custody starting right now, and shoots the guy in the head and blows his head off. And she says, bring me another one, a female one. And she's questioning Femthor again. Femthor's over here throwing a fit, and she says, don't make me doubt your loyalty to the cause, sister. And, of course, she goes and gets this refugee, and the refugee has a freaking 1950s dress with 1950s pearls on, like she's somebody's mom from the 50s. And I'm like, is she a refugee? She looks like a U.S. citizen. I mean, what's going on here? So then Sable shows up. She's attacking people, and she knocks one of the guards down and grabs her, and Sable's already beat up. And I'm like, what's happened to Sable? Her leg's bleeding. What's happening here? So then we cut to 10 minutes ago, and she's fighting that mutant from Dark Knight Returns underwater. She's gotten a drop on the soldier, but somehow the soldier manages to get Sable's knife from her, stab Sable, and then finally Sable is able to get away, and there's sharks in the water. This is like the most dangerous water I've ever seen in my life. So now the shark's after her because she's bleeding. She crawls up through the crack in the ship. She's getting up into there, and then the shark actually bites her in the flipping leg. She manages to stab the shark in the eye, and then we get this terrible art cutscene where these two sharks are like morphing into each other when they're supposed to be showing biting each other. And then we get a shot here of Sable, and all of a sudden her it's funny because her A cups have turned into D cups now, but she somehow managed to survive a fatal bite from a shark and get stabbed in the leg. She's cool. She's fine. She's cool. So she ties her leg up, and then she goes to whipping on all the neo-Nazis. One of them's dressed like she's in the 80s rock punk band. Knocks her over the side there. But somehow is able to get her knife back. And she says, somebody says in the radio, they say, everything okay, boss? And she says, never better. Now, how about those directions? That old Nazi witch isn't going to assassinate herself. Oh, my gosh. She says 1 level up, 10 levels to starboard. So she goes in there. She finds, I guess this is the leader, the old leader of the group, and they've been taking care of her. And this is what I don't understand. The lady has an IV, and Sable takes the time to cut the IV, talk to the lady, then cut the lady's throat. So now she's killing old ladies. But she took the time to cut the IV, then cut her throat. What? I don't understand that. So then she uses the knife to get into the ventilation system. She directs the lady on the radio to tell her how to avoid danger. And after getting the advice, doesn't avoid danger and goes straight for the danger. So, okay, whatever. She goes through there. She starts beating on the second neo-Nazi. They're starting to have a good fight now. and they start having full-on dialogues with each other as they're struggling for the control of the knife. She says, I always wanted to meet you, but not like this. Maybe you should have thought about that before you become a Nazi. And then we get a cut scene of her pretending to be her. And like I said before, they're having full-on conversations while struggling for control of this knife. They gave away my scholarship to an immigrant, so I had to drop out of school. Ooh, Oka gave my life meaning. Oh gosh, get over it, you millennial. You're probably going to take like social science anyway. So the leader bursts in holding the 1950s Stepford wife by her hair and says, cut the party, slumber party chit chat, and starts firing at both of them. Hits the neo-Nazi, of course, but doesn't hit Sable. And then they're both kind of like at that moment on the crossroads, where they're trying to decide, are they on the same side? Are they not? And so they have that weird moment where Sable somehow slips up and she's hanging by a piece of metal, and the Nazi lets her go. And this kind of slips off as she's bleeding to death. And so then Sable gets back to the mission. She gets to the deck of the ship where the neo-Nazis are now recording another message. And, somehow they just, they shot at Silver Sable. They don't know if they killed her at all. And they said, oh, okay, we'll just go record us another video. And they're all like, hail to the SSS. And they're all doing the neo-Nazi thing because that's a thing. And so Sable drops down, starts taking them out one by one. The boss gets away. And I have to say, I like the way they draw Silver Sable. The boss gets away, but not before she triggers an explosion. And Sable's like, what the heck is that? And then she sees on the projector where they're like weirdly projecting where the immigrants are, that it's sinking. That, they're going underwater and the immigrants are in trouble. So that's when she goes after them she's trying to save the immigrants, but at the same time, the neo-Nazi number 2 is attacking neo-Nazi number 1. And they like jump off the water, and I guess they die. There's like sharks all in the water, so I guess they're going to fall in the water and die. I don't really know. They don't really explain it. So Silver Sable ricochets a bullet to hit one of the releases to let the water out because there's sharks all in the water. She saves everybody. The sharks just leave. And then she's out on very 80s action movie style. She's sitting on top of the ship with the rest of the refugees. She's got a random refugee child holding her. There comes the army and everybody in. Of course, they're too late. She says, you're a little bit late to the party, boys. And that's where we end the book. I don't know about you, but this was a cringe volcano for me. And it says, up next, nothing, nada, zilch. It's called a one-shot, duh. Got a problem with that? So I guess they're just going to do a one-shot of Silver Sable. I don't really know. I guess this is all they're going to do. I don't know why they took the original numbering if they were just going to do a one-shot of it. Silver and Bold, part 1 of 1. Because this was really like the stupidest book I've ever read. I don't understand this at all. Am I just being crazy, or am I onto something here? Tell me, guys, what you think about this. But anyway, guys, I'll hit you later. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But my gosh, I mean, how many times have we got to have neo-Nazis in a book before people realize that that's not a real thing, and that maybe we need to move on to something else, because this is just not original to me. I mean, they would have been more original if they had done it the other way around, and they actually had Al-Qaeda or some kind of Middle Eastern group attacking people, and Silver Sable had to save the day. But then that would have just been against the narrative. But all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Underground Geek out.